issue of Syria, the issue of refugees, and we're going to have a special guest to present to us for a few minutes and then talk about the actions we can take for this situation. So, my mother-in-law, Raghida Hariri, is near and dear to my heart. She is an activist for Syrian freedom and democracy. She is unrelenting and an inspiration to all of us who know her. So she's going to come and talk to you a little bit about what life was like in Syria and how she had to come here to flee the war and violence in her country, and what's going on with refugees currently who are under a bit of a lot of threat, I should say, in terms of some countries that are now thinking to return the refugees when Syria is not safe for that now, with the Assad regime still in power. So I'll stop talking and I'll invite my mother-in-law, Raghida Hariri, and my lovely, beautiful wife, Reem, to translate for her. So maybe your mom takes the seat and you can go to the...
Yeah.
مرحبا ويعطيكم العافية. أنا راغدة الحريري، مدرسة لغة عربية.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Raghda Hariri. I'm translating on behalf of my mom. My name is Reem Hariri. And I want to apologize in advance. I'm not a translator, so I will be trying my best to get you the idea and translate as much as I can. My mom introduced herself. Her name is Raghda Hariri. She has been an educator and a teacher, retired teacher for 30 years in Syria.
أنا كنت بسوريا كل عمري، أولادي إجوا هون، لكن بعد الثورة شفت إنه بكل المحافظات طلعوا ناس مظاهرات، ظنيت إنه خلاص فقلت حرية حرية.
10 years ago, when the Arab Spring started and it started in Syria, people were protesting, and demonstration has erupted in Syria. She joined the demonstration and she demanded freedom, and she was arrested.
لكن النظام ما تحمل أبدا إنه حدا يقول كلمة حرية، فاعتقلوني وطالعوني بسرعة، لأنه بدمشق العاصمة ما كان بدهم تنفلت الأمور ويطلعوا الناس كلهم.
So she was arrested by the regime because they cannot stand the thought of anybody protesting against them. We quickly advised her to come here to the States. My brothers and I live here, so we advised her to come here just until things cool down. But it's been 10 years and she hasn't gone back.
أنا بخجل إني أقول عن لجوئي، بخجل إني أحكي عن لجوئي، بخجل إني أحكي عن معاناتي، لأنه ولا شيء هالمعاناة قدام معاناة الآخرين اللي بالسهول وبالبرد وبالشوب وبالمخيمات.
She is kind of ashamed to talk about her refugees experience because her experience is not a truly she hasn't suffered as much as the people. She would like to focus on the refugees who are sitting in camps, in tents, under cold weather, hot weather, regardless, they're in miserable conditions in neighboring countries, in Jordan and Turkey.
بخجل لأنه غيري معاناته كتير صعبة، وأنا جيت لقيت ولادي الثلاثة سبقوني قبل الثورة لحتى يدرسوا، فدرسوا وتعلموا، وجيت لقيت كل شيء متاح إلي، بينما الآخرين اللي أنا ما بيغيبوا عن ذهني أبدا عم يعانوا ببلدي.
she focuses her energy and thought and efforts to help those refugees because they are not as fortunate as she was to come here and live with us and be safe in the United States. So she would ask everybody to help the refugees in any way they can because they are living under they are suffering under a very bad conditions.
سمعنا طبعا مثل ما سمعتوا كلكم عن اللاجئين اللي مهددين بالترحيل. أي لاجئ هو هارب من الموت ومن الدمار ومن القتل، فلما أنتوا أي حدا بيقول له يرجع فكأنه عم يرجع ويقول له أنت روح موت ببلدك، لأنه أكبر إرهابي وكذاب هو بشار الأسد.
She also want to highlight the fact that for any refugees, if you ask them to go back to Syria, that's like you're allowing Assad to pretty much execute them. They fled the country because they rose against the regime and spoke against the regime, and the regime is aware of that. So if they do go back under any circumstances, they will be arrested, tortured, and probably killed.
إذا بدكم تتخلصوا من الإرهاب ونحن أكثر منكم حرصا إنه نتخلص من الإرهاب اللي بلدنا، الإرهابي الأول بالعالم كله هو بشار الأسد، وكل شيء إرهاب تاني هو بيتبع له وبيمشيه هو بشكل يعني ليخدم مصلحته.
Assad is the biggest terrorist in her own eyes and in the eyes of the Syrian regime, the Syrian people. He actually used the propaganda of the terrorists in Syria to benefit his agenda and to claim that he's fighting terrorists. The true terrorist is truly Assad.
أنا طبعا ببلد غريبة، أولادي صغار إجوا وهن بيقدروا يتأقلموا، أما أنا وزوجي صعب إنه نتأقلم لأنه روحنا ببلدنا، نحن عشنا ومرت علينا كل الأيام ونحن بهديك البلد.
She do ache for her home country, being in her own house. She misses every inch of her life back home. She referred to her kids are younger, we can adapt easier, but for her and for my father, who's also here in the country, fled Syria 10 years ago, it's very hard for them to adapt to the fact that they will never go back as long as Assad is in power, because they will be possibly arrested and tortured.
10 سنين وأنا بنام وبفيق وبحلم إنه أقدر أرجع لبلدي وأقدر أشوف أرضي وأقدر شم هوا بلدي. صحيح أنا أولادي جنبي هون، بس أنا قلبي وعقلي وروحي هن بسوريا.
Her heart, her eyes, her soul is still in Syria. Every day she wakes up wishing that she could go back and see her home, her country.
شكراً.